Einen wunderschönen guten Abend hier am Dienstagabend. Hello and welcome back to our final race here for season number 9 of the Apex Online Racing GT3 Crossplay Championship. It's always a little bit tricky to remember the name of this league or the whole name. And here we are for our last race here in Belgium, in Spa-Francorcham, at this, I would like to say, famous track here in the... Oh. Damn, I think it's the Ardennes, but I don't know how it's... I know it's in German... the Ardennen, but I don't know how it's called in English. It's the Ardennes? I don't know. And we are hoping for an interesting race, because to be honest, the question who will be our new champion, I think in both grids is really over. So we have 140 points between Jared and Martin.
Give it all you can.
And even if Jared will not end this race, cause maybe like we have it at the moment, that there is... Oh, and we have... Oh! Okay. This is new. Sorry, I was a little bit surprised that we will have a qualification. Cause normally the last season, or the last seasons, we have no qualification for the last race. And we are starting with a reverse grid. But I think season 9 is something different, so we have also in this race a qualification. So no last to first challenge for Jared and the other guys. Yeah, but like I want to tell you, we have 140 points between Martin and Jared. And the current drop for Jared is 125 points, so if he is not in P1 or P2, he will get immediately the points for the last race, and so he will stay in front of Martin, even if Martin will finish P1. And yeah, we have 106 points between Gabriel and Chris Egert. And this means that also Gabriel isn't able to lose P3 against the Estonian driver, cause he have a current drop of 65. So if he will be not able to finish at least P7, he will get the points for the second race, which are 65 points. And then we have already 171 points between Chris Egert and Gabriel. And so I think Gabriel needs to win this race to get in front of. And even then it will be hard for him to get in front of Gabriel. Yeah, but then we have only By the way, we have 90 points between Huyans and Lavuga. So even P2 is pretty safe for the Dutch driver. And then we have Paul, 42 points, Paul Fiedler, 42 points behind the Estonian driver P5. And then we have Guido Christ, 84 points behind Paul. And then we have the first silver driver in the overall standing, and this is Kendall Slater. Okay, no, and I thought it was pretty clear what happens in the silver grid. But no, it isn't, cause Kendall finished in second place of the silver grid last week, and so he was able to climb up 2 positions and is now only 29 points behind Lachko. Oh, and 29 points are not so much. Last week we have P7 for Lachko and, like I said, P2 for Kendall. Let's take a look how far these points or these places are away from each other, speaking about points. So P2 makes 125 points and it's 65 points for P7, and so he came 60 points closer to Lachko, and this is more than enough to get P1 in the last race for Kendall. McMazur, P3 for the Polish driver. Then we have Archibald, Popov and Jordan, now P6, right in front of Jeffrey Van Buren. And then we have Daniel Kamendi, P8, Joshua Castle and Ricky Goodwin. But now we are looking for the pro grid. And we have Stander in front of Fiedler, then Revolinsky, Sandham, and only P5, 1.2 seconds behind Stander. We have Gabriel Lavogur. By the way, I think we saw the first race of Hammerlund this season. So hello to the Swedish driver, or hello back maybe. But like, oh, and it's the first time that we saw that we see the Bentley by, I think it's a driver from Belgium, then Denny van Eyck, the guy who was writing through the whole season here in this chat, like Ice Dive did, and so I have to change to German. Ein herzliches Dank an den Ice Dive, nicht Dive, für das Abo. Nebenbei geht auch der Gabriel ein bisschen nach vorne, holt sich zumindest P3. Ja, und im besten Fall sehen wir ja den Ice Dive am Freitag dann auch wieder in Action auf der Schleife, denn am Freitag geht's für uns wieder zu den Jungs der ISR und natürlich auch im Zweifel den Damen. Und wir werden ein bisschen mit den Jungs und eventuell Damen die Schleife unsicher machen. Aber jetzt gehen wir erstmal hier wieder zurück zum Geschehen. Okay, und Ice Dive wird auch am Start sein, das freut uns. So, but now let's go back to the current race. And here we have Danny van Eyck. I was trying to look from where he comes. Okay, no information. I can't find him in the driver page or at the driver page. Yeah, but at the moment we have Thunder still in the lead. 85 thousandths of a second in front of Homoki. And look at this, 2 Porsche drivers in the first 3 positions. Cause Guido Christ, the Dutch Porsche driver, also in front of the first Lamborghini, right behind the Mustang, and then we have Gabriel with the Lamborghini. Nearly a tenth away from Paul, who is currently P5. And then we have the third Porsche, the South African Porsche, in 6th place, right in front of Latchko. And this is a good news for the Mustang driver, cause at the moment Kendall is 3 places in the AM grid, 4 places in the overall grid behind Latchko. Oh, and now we have Rünkjanen with the attack against Guido and Lavogger. But at the moment it seems to be a tough job for Chris Egert. To overtake Lavogger not only here in the qualification but also in the overall standing. Yeah, but look at this, it seems like Jared and Martin are not planning to do a qualification lap, so... Oh, now we have Jared on track. Oh, no, 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 he's not. Maybe he is cheating, but no, not at all. So, and here... Oh. Oh. Oh, and it's not like Jared is... Oh. And now we lost Jared. I hope he will come back. Ah, he's back on the server. But let's hope that he don't have this problem all the time today. I mean, not that there would be any effect of the current standing, but it would be sad if our new champion won't be able to fight here in the last race for the 6th win of this season, or in this season. So last week was the first time for this season that he wasn't on P1, so only P2 last week, cause Martin was able to get in front of his teammate. Yeah, but look at this, the first 6 drivers in 8th and a little bit 10th. Wolinski now the first one who finished his qualification. P7, I think he will stay in 7th place. Oh, and look at this pop-off with the next good, at least qualification after winning last week. And Latchko only P2 for our current leader of the Silver Grid, but still more than 3 drivers between him and Kendall, the 2nd place driver, and at the moment P3 McMazur is also in front of Slater. So let's have a look. Yeah, it's 50 points between Mazur and Kendall. I think this wouldn't be enough for Mac to get back in front of Kendall. So, and only Homoki and Christ are on track, I would like to say, but in this moment Christ finished his last qualification lap and was able to get in front of the Estonian driver. And now we have Homoki, and he finished in 2nd place, 55 thousandths of a second behind Eric Stander. And this means we have 2 Hungarian drivers in the lead for today's race. So Eric in front of Homoki, then the first Dutch driver beside the Estonian drivers Christ and Rüngjanen, then Lavugar, Fiedler, Revolinski and the first AM driver Popov, then Latchko, Sandham, Mazur, Slater, Castle, Van Buren, Dolatz, Westerhof, Archibald, and then we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers without a timing. These are Vermeulen, Van Eyck, Hammerlund, Ujans, Chapman and Batschak. So now we do a little commercial break before the start, and then we are hoping for an interesting race, and we hope for a clean start after we saw a crazy start a few weeks ago. So hear you soon. So, and with a few seconds till the start of the introduction lap, we are jumping into Stunder's car, and let's have a short watch or a short look here at the track. We're starting not at the finish line, cause we have a different start point right in front of turn 3, 4 and 5, the Eau Rouge and Radion. So this is Eau Rouge, and now going into the left turn Radion, and then in the race without braking here through Camel Corner right into the Camel Straight, which is this long straight here. And then we have Le Comp, turn 7 and 8, into Malmedy, and this corner or this turn is Rivage, turn 10. And now we are looking forward for the long left-handed turn for Pouhon, turn 12. And this right in front of us is the next two, or are the next two corners, Fagné. One to the right, one to the left. And now turn 16, Staffelo, which I think is another little village here near the track, like Malmedy and I think Rivage too. And even if you think, well, I already did this track, it's getting harder and harder, because now we are coming through turn 17 into, you can guess one time, right, turn 18, and this is Blanchimont, another track where you can turn where you can make a lot of mistakes. For example, going too far and getting a warning or worse. And then we are in the last two turns before the finish, which is the bus stop, turn 19 and 20. And here we have the finish line, but like I already said, not the start line, because it's really short and some of the drivers should start in the middle of the bus stop, and this isn't good. And so we are going through turn 1, La Source, which is a kind of hairpin corner. And now we are looking forward for the start.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Oh, and we have a drive-through penalty for our leading car. P1 and 2 side by side, with the second Porsche right behind. Oh, and there is a Ferrari off track, but now back on track. I think it's... was it Sandham? Or maybe it... oh, and here, look at this. Rawolinski is attacking. Oh, and Tomoki already in front of Stander, without the drive-through penalty. And here, look at this. This is the fight between Rawolinski and Lavogger. Oh, and the South African Porsche driver now in front of the Austrian Lambo driver. And right behind Gabriel we have Paul with the green Ferrari. And is this other green Ferrari already Vermeulen? Yes, he is. Oh, and look at this. There was some contact between, I think, Latchko and... no, it wasn't Latchko. Who was it? It wasn't Latchko and it wasn't Slater. Huh? How could it be Rynkianen? What is this? It wasn't, the contact wasn't between Rynkianen and Paul, cause Rynkianen was far in front of... oh, and there was a mistake by the Bentley driver in the Blanchimont corner, like I told you in the introduction lap. This isn't an easy corner to do. At least if you don't do any laps in the qualification and have no information how the grip is doing his job. Okay, and Homoki's still in the lead. What a race for the little Porsche guy, or for the little Porsche car. So maybe the guy isn't really short. And yeah, it's just a question of time how long it will take till we have the first two cars are Porsches. Cars Guido. Oh no, not the first two, but the first three cars. Because we are just waiting for the drive-through penalty by Stunder. Oh, and it was Sandham with the contact. And here we have the fight between Latchko and Slater, P1 and P2 in the silver grid. And behind these two we have oh no, already in front of Kendall we have Jared, so meanwhile we have a gap of 1 and a little bit seconds between Latchko and Slater. And already P12 for Hyans and 1 lap for Stunder to do his drive-through penalty. Lavoger isn't able to do anything against Sandham, Vermeulen. In this moment no chance against Latchko, and now let's have a look for Hyans, and Hyans already in front of Castle. Oh, and Castle tries to overtake behind Hyans and is now, I think, in front of Mazur. Yeah. So the two BMW drivers here in the silver grid, or two of the BMW drivers of the silver grid are fighting, but meanwhile Mazur tries to stay in front of Chapman. I think this is this guy Ferrari. And then we have Hammerlund fighting against Westerhof. And this will be the moment when the three Porsches are taking the lead. We'll just wait. Yeah. Sorry for this, but why? By the way, Van Eyck, the first guy who did his mandatory stop after some problems in the first laps. I really don't understand why Eric is doing this. Yeah, everyone hates drive-through penalties. Even more if it's a drive-through penalty here in Spa. But it's not only me who gets an information every lap. So I think every driver knew that Eric have to come in for his drive-through penalty. But okay, why not? So meanwhile we have 3 seconds between Homoki and Christ and nearly 1.5 seconds between the second and the third Porsche. And then we have Sandham, Lavogger, Latschko and Vermeulen right next to each other. At the moment we have 1.1 seconds between Latschko and Lavogger and nearly exactly 1 second between Lavogger and Sandham. But I think it's just a question in which... Oh, and there was... What was this? Oh no, and... The two teammates hitting each other. Okay, now we have the time to take some closer looks for the first 4 laps. Just give me a second. We will watching what happens to Chris Egert, to Paul, and then here at the end of lap 3 what happens to Jared. I think, like I saw it, he wants to try to, or he tries to overtake Latschko and they just hit each other, but let's see. So it's the 10, the 380 and the 14. Okay, he just missed the exit. So, and here we have Paul. And I think it was the black Ferrari. Oh, I think it was in... No, it was here. Just wait. This was the first contact. Okay, and it wasn't the black Ferrari at all. Ooh, this was crazy. Holy guacamole. And now let's see Jared. At the fight against Latchko. Ah, okay. Some misunderstanding here between the two teammates, and then the final result we just saw. Okay. And still 3 Porsche on top, but Sandham, meanwhile, only half of a second behind Revolinski. 1 second in front of Lavogga. And then we have Latchko and Hyajans. Slater P8 for the second placed AM driver, not only today but also in the standing of the silver grid. And then we have Jared, meanwhile in 9th place again. And here we have Chapman, and Chapman now hunted by the fast Estonian guy. And not only so, it's Eastern and Nordish Europe are hunting Great Britain, I think, because it's the Swedish driver and the Estonian driver side by side. And look at this. This is exactly what we, or what I want to see. Side by side battles during more and more corners. And now, for the first, not for the first time, for the moment, better ending for Rüngjanen, who stays in front of Hammerlund. And Mekmazur, the third AM driver, right behind these two fighting horses, forget what I say. Right behind these two Mustangs, so just... Yeah, and Sandham isn't happy with 3 Porsches at the podium and tries to get at least in front of one of them, but this was a little bit too much, and the stewards are saying no to this maneuver. And so he is the second one with a drive-through penalty. Oh, and there was maybe a little bit of contact between him and Revolinski, and so Lavogga is also able to get in front of the Porsche, which makes him a kind of P3 at the moment. Cause yeah, I know Sandham is P3 at the moment, but like we see, there is standing a big DT behind his number and the gap to Christ. And we already saw what happens when you don't come in for this drive-through penalty, and to be honest, you won't be able to stay on third place. I think it will be hard for him to stay in the top 10. No, it won't be hard. It's not possible to stay in the top 10 if he comes in for his DT right now. Let's see what happens. Oh, and by the way, oh yeah, and he's coming in to clear his penalty immediately. And so we have Lavoger in third place, right in front of Revolinski, but Revolinski only a few tenths in front of Lachko, and Lachko even a little bit closer in front of Martin. And then there is a little gap to Jared, and let's see where Sandham is able to get back. Oh. And yeah, he is able to stay in the top 10. So, nice job. Horst Kendall, no, Steven now P9. No. What is this? Oh, it was another car. It was Jeffrey. I just thought that it was Sandham. Okay, but why? Or maybe he is doing his... No, he isn't doing his mandatory stop. I think that's it for today for Sandham. So the next Ferrari. Or is it the first one? Sorry, I need to take a look. Yeah, it's the first Ferrari, sorry. The first car who left this race was the Mustang from Stander. Oh, and here we have the fight between Revolinski and Hürjans, already in front of Revolinski. So, and now it's Hürjans against Lavoger. And look at this. How the gap is changing. So it was 3/10 between Revolinski and Huyans and 1.2 seconds between Huyans and Lavogar. Now we have less than half of a second between Huyans and Lavogar and 2.2 seconds between the South African Porsche and the Dutch Ford driver. And here we have Lachko against, let's say, 2 South African drivers, cause the other one is coming from behind, and normally at least the number 14 is coming really fast closer behind you. Oh, and sorry for this, but Huyans was too fast for me and already overtook Lavogar. But now 10 seconds between him and Guido and more than 15.5 seconds between P1 Homoki and P3, or current P3 Huyans. And Lachko is trying to get in front of the Porsche. And here we have Jared already also getting in front of his fellow countrymen, and now attacking the leader of the Silver Grid. And this was also really fast. And let's now look for the gap between Huyans and the 2 Porsche drivers in front. Less than 10 seconds. Oh, and Archibald with some problems through Pouhon, but meanwhile in front of Westerhof, so P15 for the Scottish guy. Yeah, and Hammerlund also part of the top 10 already. Right in front of Chapman. And 2 seconds behind Kendall. Yeah, but to be honest, I think it's a little bit interesting, let's say it like this, that Martin is only, or it's able only to get 2/10 of a second closer to the 2 Porsche guys during the first part of the track. Because to be honest, I was pretty sure that this is the fastest part of the track, and so the Mustang should win most of the time in this part, but maybe not. Yeah, really. Because in the second sector he was able to win half of a second against at least Guido. Yeah, Guido is losing a little bit time against Homoki. Meanwhile, 6.1 seconds. And here it's 8.6 seconds. And the silver driver is coming in for us, or the silver leader is coming in for his mandatory stop. But for the fürs Erste, voll lustig. Not for the firsts. So in Germany there is fürs Erste, which means for the moment or so long. Gabriel is able to avoid an attack by Jared. And let's see where Latchgo is coming back on track. He should be in front of Castle and the other guys. Yeah, because they are nearly one lap behind. But quite a long stop. Oh, and there is a yellow flag. Oh, who is it? Let's see, it's the number... I can't even read it. Ah, it was Barczak, the BMW driver, who had, more than a problem through En Rouge. Oh, and Hyans coming in for his pit stop. Sorry. Yeah. And then he couldn't avoid the crash. I think he was thinking that he is able to avoid the crash, but no. Oh, and Vermeulen. Only 1,000th of a second behind Lavogger, who is back in third position, cause Hyans with the pit stop. Oh, and look at this. Oh, by the way, together through Blanchimont is never a good idea. And now coming into the bus stop side by side. Okay, and now we have the pit stop by Jared Guido and Dani, and so we will have the Lamborghini with at least one lap in the lead. And also Chris Egert stays outside the pits. And then we have Victor. So for this moment we have Lavogger and then the two Mustangs on the podium. So Austria in front of Estonia and Sweden. But meanwhile there is a gap between Rünkjanen and Hammerlund. I think a few laps ago they were fighting, if I remember the right way. So maybe a little problem for Hammerlund in the last laps. And now Huyans against his teammate and the two Porsche guys. Omoki already on track, stays in front of Huyans. And also Christ is able to stay in front of the Dutch driver. And Vermeulen and Revolinski stays behind. So, but now let's have a look. Homoki 8.2 seconds in front of Guido Christ. And Guido only 2.5 seconds left to Huyans. And still 25 minutes to go. So this is too much time for too little space. And after one lap for Gabriel with the lead, we have a new leader cause Gabriel comes in for his mandatory stop, and so Chris Egert is taking the lead. And then we have Hammerlund, Popov, and Archibald is coming in too. And here we have Latschko again, right behind Roman Revolinski, or was it Robert? I think, I don't know. It's Robert, sorry for this. To be honest, there are too many names with Ro, starting with Ro, or Ra, Roman, Ramon, Robert. So sometimes I'm a little bit confused. So, and Lavogger. Oh! Lavogger lost a lot of time against Huyans, which is crazy. Or maybe not, but lost a little bit of time against Jared, cause Jared was really close behind Gabriel. Right in front of the pit stop, and here we have the fight between the two Dutch drivers, Christ against Huyjans. And this is for currently P3. Cause Hammerlund, now the new leader of the field. Cause Rüngjanen comes in for his mandatory stop and also Popov comes in. So, und der Bernd guckt gerade vom Frankfurter Flughafen, der ist dann jetzt gerade mal wieder auf dem Weg nach Hause. Hat also genau das Richtige gemacht und war hier in den 2, 3, 4 Tagen, die es hier so Schiedwetter war. Dann hoffentlich irgendwo, wo es wärmer war, bestenfalls eben in nicht Grie, sondern Gibraltar. Und jetzt wäre ja tatsächlich die Frage, ob er quasi für die 24 Stunden wieder hergekommen ist. Oder ob er einfach nur so... Oder... Ah, er war in Warschau. Okay, da ist wahrscheinlich dann auch nicht warm gewesen. Ja, wenn ich den Smiley richtig interpretiere. So, but still two Porsche. In a way, two Porsche on top. But at the moment only Omoki in second place. Of course, Victor still not coming in for his pit stop. And here we have still the fight between Latschko and Rüngjanen. Oh, and look at this. Mazur was able to overtake Slater and also Popov. Meanwhile, in front of Kendall. So, and now we have to take a look for the Silver Grid Championship. It's 27 points between Popov and Mazur. Which is no problem for Mazur. It's 50 points between Mazur and Slater, which is not enough. So, which means P2 is not enough for Mazur to get in front of Slater in the championship standings, and now we have the pit stop by the Swedish driver, and so we will have Homoki back in the lead. And now it's the big question, is Homoki able to stay in front of Martin for the next 17.5 minutes? So it's nearly exactly 8 seconds between Homoki and Hyujans. Then we have Christ only 5 seconds in front of Vermeulen, with 8.5 seconds in front of Lavugger. Then we have 7 seconds, nearly exactly 7 seconds up to Robert Revolinsky and Lachko. And let's see if Rünkianen is able to stay in front of Hammerlund, and the answer is yes and also no. But Hammerlund keeps P9. So without Van Eyck, all of the platinum drivers, so Van Eyck isn't a platinum driver, so not except Van Eyck, but all of the platinum drivers who didn't do a qualification lap are in the top 10 already. So great job by Vermeulen, by Hyujans and by Hammerlund. And just imagine there wouldn't be the contact or the crash by Jared, and then the contact between Jared and Martin. I think both of them were able to fight for the win. Still 7 seconds between Homoki and Hyujans, but still more than 14 minutes to go. So as long as the gap stays half of the time, everything is fine for Hyujans. And now we have Rünkianen and Lachko right behind Revolinsky. Still 7 seconds between Hyujans and the Porsche. Okay, 6.8, 13 minutes to go. And Jared only 3 seconds behind Guido. Less than 12 minutes to go, still 6.7 seconds. Not the best news for Huyans. Archibald less than a second behind Dolatz. Fight for P14. Overall, and P6 in the AM grid or silver grid. Ooh, this was really close. I think there was a little contact between number 7 and number 380. Only 11 minutes to go and still more than 6 seconds between Huyans and Tomoki. And 1.8 seconds between Vermeulen and Chris. And here we have Rünkjanen now on P6, right in front of Latschko and right behind Revolinski. So we're staying in the same car, or not in the same car, but in the same type of car. But let's take a look at Jared. 1.3 seconds left and 6.3 seconds between Huyans and Tomoki, and I think only 10 seconds to go. To be honest, this could be really tough for Martin to get the second victory in this season. So, but now we have the fight between Revolinski and Rünkjanen here into Le Comp. And look at this. Good. Oh, and I'm not sure if there was a mistake then. It was from Latschko, cause it was really clean and a fantastic job by our number 380, overtaking the Porsche. But I think there was a little now look at this. No, it wasn't. It was just a little too much oversteering from the Porsche. So, sorry to Latschko, I didn't say anything. And please, please, please. Okay, I would say we are here for the exact perfect moment. And look at this. What a good switchback by Chris against Jared. Fantastic job by the Dutch Porsche driver. But I think it's not enough for the straight to stay in front of the Ferrari. Now coming in Le Comp, and like we see, Chris stays in front of Vermeulen. But like we saw right a few minutes before, it's quite possible to gain a position here through the outside of the beginning of the comp. Oh, and look at this, only 6, let's say 7 minutes to go and still more than 5.5 seconds between Hyojans and Tomoki. So I think we will see both of the angriest sim racers alive on the podium. But to be honest, I think it will be hard, or it will be hard for Martin to get the win. Oh, und hier, guckt mal. Hallo Daniel. Nee, ich fahre doch nicht, um Gottes Willen. Also, der Daniel hat geradet. Mein Gott. Ja, sorry, ich war hier noch unterwegs. Liebig hat sich schon wieder verabschiedet. Ach, das ist Dolly? Ach guck, das wusste ich gar nicht. Nee, Dolly ist da. Hä? Entschuldigt, ich war hier noch mit allem Möglichen beschäftigt. Unter anderem hier mit meiner Technik und habe nicht mitgekriegt, dass ihr hier unter anderem durch den Daniel oder in erster Linie durch den Daniel hergekommen seid. Hier war es gerade mal richtig eng, so this was really close. I don't know which Ferrari that was. Maybe it is Jeffrey. Yeah, it's Big Jeff. Und dann will ich euch zuliebe doch gleich mal was trinken. Zum Wohl. Daniel, by the way, die nerven mich alle schon. Wir müssen mal hier so komisches Gedudel einfügen. Das musst du mir mal irgendwann erklären, wie es geht. Aber Daniel, im Zweifel hättest du doch nur anrufen müssen. Dann hätte ich das doch zumindest mitgekriegt oder mir eine Nachricht schicken. Yeah, but meanwhile everything seems to be clear. So there is no gap under 1 second. We have Archibald 1 second and a little bit behind Dolatz, which is the smallest gap. We have Mazur right behind Revolinsky, so what happens to Revolinsky? Ah yeah, I think I know what happens. Yeah, he got the he has the crash, or had, you know what I tried to say, a few laps earlier, and now he's trying to avoid the pit stop. Now P11 for the South African driver. Still more than 4.5 seconds between Homoki and Hyojans. And so after a few race wins in the AM grid for Hungarian driver, we have the first victory for an Hungarian driver in the Platinum grid. Oh, sorry, it's not the AM, it's the silver grid. And congratulations. Some people would say it's just because Martin and Jared doesn't do a qualification, but
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
yeah, if you have a chance, you need to use it. And this is what Tomoki does, or did today. I don't know. And now he's in the last lap, still leading. I think it was just right after turn 1 when he takes the lead, and then it was just a few laps during the pit stop time when he wasn't on top of today's field, and now it's still more than 3.5 seconds between him and Huyajans. Oh, and Archibald again really close behind Dolotz, and Hammerlund right behind Latschko. Oh, and Barczak didn't come in for his penalty, but it's the same. He's P21 even with the DT or the 30 or 60 seconds penalty, so no need to come in for his penalty. And then we have the win for the Porsche. Congratulations to the Hungarian driver. What a race! And the first one after Koka, who was able to finish in front of Huyajans and Vermeulen. Even it's... Yeah, okay, we can talk about it, but he is in front of Huyajans and Vermeulen. And then we have Christ on 4th place and P5 today for Gabriel, the Austrian driver, but again, he was P3 in front or before the race and stays in 3rd place. And here we have P4 of the championship, Chris Egert Rünkjanen. And then we have the winner of the silver grid, Jaboc Latschko. Congratulations. And then we have Victor, who did his only race in the season today. And then Popov, but I think he's not able to gain some positions in the silver grid, because Mazur is right behind him. He stays in 3rd place. And then Kendall P4 in today's race in the silver grid, but P2 overall in the championship. And then we have Revolinski, who finished his first race in the season today. Congratulations. And Dolatz is able to stay in front of Archibald. Chapman P15. Then we have Westerhof, Castle, and Van Eyck P18. And here we have Barczak with the little extra time, but no change. And then we have Castle, who finished P17 today. So, and maybe we will have some interview guests today, just because it's the last race of the season. And here we have the winner of today's race, Dani Homoki. Congratulations for the first guy since a long time who is able to finish a race in front of the two angriest sim racers. But of course, congratulations to Jared for a nearly perfect season. So after today's race, he finished with 5 times P1 and 1 P2, because today's race is the race who will cut off. Yeah, and of course, congratulations for a fantastic second season here in the Apex Crossplay Championship, or GT3 Championship, the consoles for Gabriel after a really hard season last time. I think he wasn't able to finish the first 3 or 4 races. Yeah, it's P3 this time, and the good thing is also he's only P5 today. He just joins the interview channel, and so we switch back in German or Austrian and talk to Gabriel. Hallöchen! Ja, war heute nicht ganz so einfach. Ich hatte kurz, also in Anführungsstrichen, Angst, dass wir auf Spa einen Dreifachsieg von Porsche erleben. Was irgendwie ein bisschen komisch gewesen wäre.
Ja, habe ich mir auch schon gedacht, aber ja, ist interessantes Rennen, um es mal so auszudrücken.
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Du hattest ja sogar ein bisschen Glück bei dem kleinen Rempler. Ich weiß gar nicht, wer war es? War es das schon?
Ja.
Nee, das war der Paul, ne? Paul Fiedler war das.
Ja, zuerst war es der Porsche da, wie heißt der, Revolinski,
Ja, der Roman,
sich
ja.
da durchquetscht hat. Und dann der Fiedler.
Ja.
Und dann wurde ich noch von irgendeinem anderen Fahrer gedivebombt in die Schikane rein.
Ah, okay, das habe ich gar nicht mitgekriegt. Ja, aber auf jeden Fall Glück gehabt. Aber wie gesagt, der Vorteil ist natürlich, ich glaube, dir ging es ein bisschen ähnlich. Also du hättest ja Ähnliches machen können wie der Jared und der Martin, und hättest ja heute eigentlich auch auf die Quali verzichten können. Weil, wie ich schon gesagt
Ja.
habe, also alles, was du heute hinter P7 verbracht hättest, wäre ja sowieso gestrichen worden. So wie es ja beim Jared heute der Fall ist. Also der hat das Rennen ja quasi wirklich nur für die Galerie mitgefahren, weil P3 wird gestrichen und er kriegt die Punkte für letzte Woche.
Ja, aber ich hab's mir überlegt, aber ich hab mir gedacht, ja gut, mit dem Lambo, ich hab keinen Topspeed, ich stehe da bei jedem hinten ran, also
Ja. Nee, ich kann es auch verstehen, also um Gottes Willen. Und wie gesagt, machen wir uns nichts vor. Also ich bin mir jetzt auch nicht ganz sicher, ob der Martin und der Jared so richtig happy damit sind. Vor allen Dingen also zumal man ja dazu sagen muss, die haben sich ja beide nochmal, also es gab einen Angriff von Jared gegen... ja,
mit dem wie ist der, mit der Laschko, glaube ich.
genau, Latschko, genau, und
Das
da
hab ich
gab es
noch im
ja,
Rückspiegel
genau,
gesehen.
und da gab es ja auch einen Dreher von, und das Gemeine ist, den einzigen, den er dann aufgehalten hat, und das ordentlich, war auch noch sein Teamkollege, der war nämlich direkt dahinter. Also, das waren definitiv mehr als 2,3 Sekunden, die es da den Jared gekostet hat. Also, theoretisch hatte der sogar noch die Möglichkeit, ja, das Rennen heute zu gewinnen. Aber am Ende hätte Fahrradkette, ne? Und ja, also, wie gesagt, auch wenn ich jetzt sagen muss, es ist halt nicht ganz perfekt, dass es jetzt endlich mal wieder jemanden gab, der die beiden geschlagen hat. Aber gut, wie gesagt, sie sind ja selber schuld. Und es kann ja jedem mal passieren,
Ja.
im Zweifel wirklich keine Quali-Runde hinzukriegen. Wobei, das habe ich, glaube ich, bei den beiden auch noch nicht erlebt. Ja, aber die wichtigste Frage ist erstmal an dich, weil du der Einzige bist. Sehen wir dich denn nächste Saison wieder? Oder war das jetzt so nach dem Motto, nee, besser geht's ja nicht mehr, jetzt ziehe ich mich als Drittplatzierter zurück? Oh, jetzt hat man dich gerade nicht verstanden. Irgendwie ist die Verbindung nach Österreich gerade schlecht.
Ich hab gar nicht verstanden, was ziemlich gefragt.
Keine Sorge, das ist kein Roboter, das ist immer noch der Gabriel, aber wir verstehen ihn gerade nicht. Sehr, sehr ärgerlich. Wir versuchen es nochmal.
Nee, okay, ich
Jetzt,
hab dich
jetzt,
gerade
jetzt
nicht
geht's.
verstanden.
Ah, jetzt hören wir dich auch wieder vernünftig.
Ich hab dich vorher gerade wie ein Roboter gehört.
Ah, cool. Na, dann war es vielleicht sogar meine Technik, die hier versagt hat. Die Frage war, ob wir dich nächste Saison nochmal sehen.
Ja, ich hab's vor.
Alles klar. Na, hätte ja sein können, dass du jetzt sagst, nee, P3, besser wird's nicht. Ich ziehe mich jetzt hier quasi als erster hinter den beiden Angriest Sim Racern zurück, aber jetzt hast du Blut geleckt und jetzt sagst du, jetzt greifst du nächste Saison P2 an.
Naja, angreifen vielleicht nicht, aber so Stück für Stück ranarbeiten.
Ja. Ja, und das ist natürlich die Frage. Ich habe es noch gar nicht gelesen. Hast du schon Informationen gelesen? Ich glaube, es
Nee.
gab schon mal irgendwas. Also ich weiß, dass es jetzt auch irgendwie auf SimCrit was gibt, aber noch habe ich tatsächlich auch nichts gelesen. Aber ich denke mal,
Ich habe auch noch nichts gelesen, also ich lasse mich überraschen.
genau, aber ich denke mal, das würde mich wundern, wenn die jetzt aufhören. Also macht euch da keine Sorgen, der
Ja,
Dienstag wird gesichert sein. Ja, und ansonsten, da uns leider die anderen beiden nicht besuchen oder so der ein oder andere, würde ich auch sagen, das war's dann erstmal für diese Saison. Ähm, wobei ich ja fest vermute, wenn der Gabriel jetzt nicht heute seine Sachen packt und dann Richtung Eifel aufmacht, dass wir den zumindest virtuell ja vielleicht am Freitag wieder in der Eifel sehen.
ja,
Ja,
virtuell schon.
dann,
In echt ist es mir ein bisschen zu weit.
ja gut, wobei ich glaube, aus Thüringen bin ich auch nicht so weit entfernt. Also ich glaube, wir nehmen uns da nicht viel.
Warte, nee, das will ich jetzt nachschauen. Warte mal, wie lang brauche ich da hin? Ähm,
Hier googelt der Chef noch selbst. Wartet, ich mache direkt mit. Können wir ja hier, hätte ich fast gesagt, den Schwanzvergleich machen, aber
unbedingt bitte.
wie praktisch, dass ich eh mal in Unterhose streame. Nein, das war ein Spaß.
Ja, 10 Stunden brauche ich hin mit dem
Oh nee,
Auto.
da brauchst du etwas länger.
880 Kilometer.
Äh,
Gut, zu Fuß hin brauche ich 8 Tage, das geht sich aus, oder?
nee, da kommst du leider zu spät.
Ach, scheiße. Hätte ich letzte Woche schon losgehen müssen.
Ja, 4 Stunden 10, 376 Kilometer.
Ja, gut, aus Österreich ist es halt ein bisschen weiter.
Ja, ja, ich hatte so in etwa gedacht, wenn man da den Anker setzt, dass man, wenn man quasi nach unten geht, ich glaube, man trifft eventuell noch Österreich, aber Österreich ist ja doch jetzt auch nicht nur 1 Kilometer breit, ne? Also,
Mhm.
ja. Also, dann wünsche ich dir auf jeden Fall einen schönen Abend und wie gesagt, nochmal herzlichen Glückwunsch, aber natürlich auch an einen Glückwunsch, so congratulations to everyone else who take part in this championship and even to the first places in both grids. So congratulations to Jared for for the championship. Uh, Martin, congratulations to P2 and of course herzlichen Glückwunsch, lieber Gabriel, für P3. And then I'm not sure, but I just tell you what I think. Who are the first 3 drivers in the silver grid? It's Jabor Lachko with the win, then Kendall Slater in the second place, and I think Mek Masur, the Polish driver, stays in third place. So, congratulations and well done. Yeah, and like I said, we see each other on Friday, but not only on Friday, but also tomorrow, I think. I'm pretty sure. Just wait, I have to look. Just
Und
wait.
schlecht vorbereitet.
Nee, das Problem ist dieses alle 2 Wochen ist nervig. So no. No, tomorrow. Ah, yeah, we have last week we had the race. Just wait. Yeah, last week we were at Barcelona, so we see each other next week in Monza for the fundraiser. So, yeah, like I said, we see each other on Friday at the Schleife, not in real, but virtual. Also wer gerne dabei ist, am Freitag geht es dann hier weiter mit den Jungs und eventuell Mädels, man weiß es ja nicht, von der IAS, die dann die Schleife unsicher machen. Also bis dahin, seid lieb zueinander. Ja, und das war es auch erstmal für die 6. Saison. 7. Saison? Gott, die wievielte Saison war das?
Die 9.
9. genau, sage ich doch. Saison der GT3 Championship hier, der Apex Online Racers. Bis dahin, macht es gut, seid